Last time on 4K Skywatching, we had the flying black cross from January. This time, we're going to look deep in the archives from 2016. We're going to look at some weird thing I captured on HD just before I went to 4K. This video is the green electric tube. This recording was done on two different cameras. A couple of Sonys. It was done in a Sony TDR in 2D mode, and there was another Sony camera that went up to 60 power. First, we're going to look at the left camera through the Sony, and this is the object. It's flashing towards the upper part of your screen. So what happened is the object came in from Scottsdale. I'm pointing north, and it's heading towards me, so it's moving up as it comes towards me. This was recorded on not high power, but not wide angle. This was my spotter scope. So I used this to spot what I was looking at. So as it tilts up, that's actually the pan and tilt doing it. It's not the object. So every time you kind of move, you see the object move around like that, that's actually me sitting inside using the remote control to pan the object. So I'm watching this on two different screens as I control this. The left camera is the wide angle, so it's on the left screen. The close-up one is on the middle screen, and I'm pretty well controlling it on the close-up screen. I want to keep that and center it and try and figure out what this is. So as the object comes up, what happens is it stops, it hovers, goes over to the left, and then it increases speed, so it starts going down, or otherwise it heads north back towards Scottsdale. This goes on for about 40 minutes. It never drops in altitude. It doesn't really go left or right. It just comes at me, hovers, gets a photo op, and then it goes back where it came from. It takes a very long time. Now we're going to look at the next camera. This is the more fun one. This is the Sony camera with the 5x telephoto converter. So we're going to look at this as I first captured it through that camera. So this is how I first got it. I panned over and boom, got it in the frame. And at first, this looked like a green tube. Throughout most of the imagery, it looked like a green tube that was flashing, and it was kind of moving forward, but jerking a little bit backward. For the longest time, I thought it was a green tube until I did some analysis of the video, and I found out this is actually a sphere. We're going to get to that in a little bit, but first we're going to watch it as it's heading up. So the object is heading towards me. It's getting closer and closer as time goes by. So the object's moving south, heading towards me. And the other footage, this footage here, of the close-up one from the right camera is about 35 minutes long. The other one is about 45 minutes plus, because I track it as it goes away. So remember, it comes towards me, it's flying south, it stops and hovers about at a 65-degree angle. It does this for about a minute or two. Then the object changes direction, increases speed, and goes back where it came from. So it starts going down in the video, and I track it and track it and track it until it gets fainter and fainter and it goes away. At the end of the video, we will be looking at blow-ups of the object. We'll be looking at what it looks like through the best filtering. So this video goes on and on and on. I've looked through this imagery for years. Over time, it's got quite boring looking at thousands and thousands of still frames of this. What it looks like, what we're going to see in some of the blow-ups, is some type of sphere. The top of it is invisible. It has about 3 rings in here. There is the top ring, which we see is a predominant ring here. There's a lower ring under it, and possibly a third green ring under that. And in between each of the green rings is a grayish structure of whatever this object is. That object is pretty well invisible until the green flashes. Looking at this over the years, I started to realize There could be some type of repetition in this flash. Is this Morse code that this object is sending us? Is this just some random burst of energy? What is this thing? At first, I went through the mundane type of answers here. This is not a conventional balloon at all. This is giving out light from within. And that light that comes out from within is just blasting for the size of this object. You wouldn't even see this from the ground if you didn't have optics like I'm using. This isn't a grocery bag, that's obvious. This isn't your run-of-the-mill sky trash. The object keeps its orientation pretty well like we see throughout the whole video. It doesn't tumble over itself or do anything. It seems like whatever I've captured on tape is somewhat of an exotic object. I'm not saying this is alien or anything like that. This very well could be something man-made that was put up there. I've never seen anything like this through any of my video collections or looking through other people's UFO videos or anything. This is a very abnormal object. It's up there pretty high. You wouldn't see this from the ground, so this isn't up there to draw attention. This is just something flying around. I couldn't even estimate how high it is. I just know how low it is. Isn't. I know it's not like, let's say 100 feet off the ground. This is up there probably a few thousand feet, but then from that I couldn't even tell you. I mean, if it's a huge up there object up there 30,000 feet, I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but this thing is now going up to the point where it's going to reach kind of its zenith or apex as close as it's going to be to me. So what happens is eventually I go outside, and here we go. I zoomed in all the way. So I took the zoom on the Sony, and I jacked it up to the maximum. So this object is still proceeding up. But now look at how it strobes, and it goes up to like the 2 o'clock position, but then it yanks back to the 7 a little bit. And now you can see some of the rings. Yeah, this is with the 5x teleconverter on the Sony HDR SR11. This is at 60x zoom. This is maxed out optically. This video has been cleaned up by Topaz using the Nix engine to clean it up. And it's got rid of all the camera grain and made it look like it was shot in 4K. So if you look at this now, that green tube that you see, there seems to be a separator in the middle of it. And if you look very, very closely over the top, there's a small dome that goes over it. You can especially see this in Photoshop. Now you could pause this on YouTube, and you can use the arrows next to the M. The left arrow and the right arrow will go forward and backward throughout the video. You can also see kind of a trailing green thing under it. So there's about 3 layers, at least 2 of the green rows, and then sometimes a small third one way at the bottom. I also thought, could this be some kind of kite? Like an electric kite, but I can't picture this because they'd have to have like 5 miles of string or something to reel this out. And then what the hell is powering this for an hour? I mean, when you look at how bright that is, it overblasts the whole object. And studying this, it looks like there's almost a row of 4, I don't know what they call, I hate to call it windows, but for lack of a better term, on the first top row, there's 4 bulbs, 4 things around it, and you can kind of see the top dome. It's very tricky in here. Later, I actually had to lower the light gain and jack up the contrast to try and get a look at what this is. This is not a conventional object at all. This is something that if you were flying a Cessna around the valley, you might run into this. You could have back in 2016. This was filmed back in March of 2016. Just after 1 o'clock until about 2 o'clock when it finally went away and disappeared from view. This video convinced me that HD is not enough. No matter how high our optics is, it was time to go out and find a 4K camera that I really would fall in love with and use a lot. And I went through a lot of cameras after this. I went through about 15 4K cameras. I kept a bunch of them, and I sent a whole bunch of them back to Jeff Bezos and said, here, you can have this back. So here is the object doing its weird flash, and it's kind of a violent type of thing. I wish somebody that knew Morse code really well could tell me what the hell this is saying, or maybe it's not saying anything. This could be, from what I heard from people, a friend of mine, Jeff, who has some people in the intelligence community, that this is a repeating signal coming out of this object. I would love to hear from more spooks about what they think this could be. I would imagine that the CIA would be all over this, and they would send this to the NSA to crack whatever code this is. I mean, just think, what if this is some type of probe from another type of intelligence? Wouldn't our signal intelligence guys want to know what the hell that's saying? I mean, I would. I would want to know if it's garbage or if there's some there. And it seems like the light is always on, but I went through this frame by frame by frame, and it's not. Now here you can see more of the sphere, and you can see the separation in the middle. Like there's almost like I was talking about windows or whatever. Now you're seeing more of the predominant row, and this is when the object is getting closer and closer to me, that the 60 power is bringing out more and more of these details. And this weird electric green thing I'm putting out there now. I don't know why I never released this before. I didn't think much of it at the time. I just thought this was something very strange. I do have a lot of UFO videos from back in this era, or after this, more in 2022, but I have more of the M video, but I just didn't release it because I want to release videos to the public that show some structure, or they show some type of pattern like this. I mean, just look at that. Look at how the green comes out so much it just oversaturates the entire object from within. So the light is definitely coming from within, whatever this is. And could you imagine, let's say for example, let's say this is a UFO and somebody's inside of it. The light has got to be so blinding you can't see what the hell you're doing. I mean, even when it doesn't overpower and blast, it's too bright. That green light is way, way too bright. So now you can see it's more of a sphere. There's a couple layers on here. I did some image processing that we're going to get into. But I'm not the world's best. I do what I can from what I've learned from others, and I pass on things to do. I took out the camera movement and I stabilized this and looked at this, and it's a little bit hard on the eyes, to tell you the truth, watching this thing flash and flash and flash and flash on these big monitors can do a number on you. So I'd like to, for the audience out there, here's where it basically hovered. I'd like the audience to look over this themselves and analyze this for themselves. This has reached its zenith. It is basically went as far over my head as it's going to do. Now in the video is the part where it goes over to the left for a little bit, and then you can see it's accelerating in speed. It's not basically hovering for photo ops anymore, and it's going to continue to the point where it's going to drop down. Now I don't know if I'm at 60 power, or, to tell you the truth, if I went and dialed this back to 45, because I'm just tracking it disappear, as all good Skywatchers do. You never get bored like someone on TikTok and say 60 seconds is enough, I got enough for the short. No, you film this until it leaves your sight, so you can learn as much as you can about it. But you can see now that it's going about triple, maybe even 4 times the speed it came when it entered the scene. And notice when this I would say is probably back in 45 power, not quite on the 60. You notice when it was on the 60 power, how violently it flashed and how it jerked back and forth, like it was strange. I can't even describe that movement. I don't see that movement in Sky Trash. I don't know what would be pulling it forward and then pulling it backward. If the green light wasn't on this, there'd be nothing to be seen here at all. So I could just turn off its light and cruise and just blend right into the sky. So while we're at this, whoever's watching, there's more videos coming out. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends about it. Share these videos on your social media link. Put them on that hellhole called Twitter. Put them on that hellhole. Well, don't put them on Reddit. But yeah, share them with your friends. Have discussions with your family. This is pretty mainstream. I've lived through the stigma and went through the other side. And I'm going to keep hunting these. So the object is, yeah, it's going down. It's heading back to Scottsdale. Maybe it came from Scottsdale. Who knows where this thing came from and who knows where it went to. But I'm sure I'm not the only person who's filmed this. In fact, I've had people show me more of these green UFO videos that are quite rare. In fact, the OG Lou Elizondo mentions one of these flew through his house. If you are a person that knows Lou, send him this video. See if this looks like anything that flew through his house. Perhaps it was, but then again, green is green and a UFO is a UFO. I would imagine they're kind of going to look all the same. And now we're going to get to the best part of the video, the analysis portion, and looking at the best clips. So here I laid a grid over the object and I slowed it down. This is one of the best parts of the video I selected to do this to. You can see it kind of move and jump forward, sometimes jump a little bit backward. And a grid will really bring out how this works. So skipping to the next one, here's a pattern of the object coming up, and it kind of darts over to the left sometimes. And then it's strange. It doesn't keep a kind of straight line of where it's going. It kind of dodges around, which is very weird. And by the words of George Knapp, I showed him this video last year, and he said, "What the heck is that?" And I don't know. This is actually the best part, I think, of the whole video, is possibly this section of it when it's zoomed into the max and it's moving around. The camera's not moving at all, and the object is moving, and that's... Is that what this is? Is some type of code, like with the M video, that you only learn the message there after it goes through post-processing? Is this another puzzle to unlock that they've delivered to us? Now here, I've taken the same clip, but I filtered it down and I darkened it. And this brings out a little bit more of the details if you want to crank down the brightness and the luminosity and jack up the contrast about 30%, and you're going to get an image like this out of it. Here's a really interesting one. Wow, that's just... What the hell kind of UFO is that? Hey, that's strange. What the hell is this thing? It's just very weird. The best clips are when it goes up to the top here. So I would encourage people to download this, study it, put it through your image processing things, and get back to me. Tell me what came of your processing. So here's about, I think, the last clip here. So I took about 4 or 5 clips of the best parts. Some of them I filtered down like this, and some I left in the original color format like the first one. And then after that, the next process, I put them into Adobe After Effects, and I stabilized the movement of the object. So this will help next. If you do a pretty good stabilization, it's a little little hard on this one because this one keeps moving around. So it's a frame by frame type thing. This isn't the auto stabilize like some videos. And then you can blow up the video and stabilize it after, or after it's stabilized, you can zoom in on it and do a number of things. This flash is so fast that you really got to watch this almost in slow motion. It's very hard to decipher what in the hell this thing's doing and if there's a message in here. Is there a message in here? Is this like the M video where there's something here to unlock? What's next time on 4K Skywatching? Well, we're going to get next time into this red spinning hockey puck that I filmed. This is an interesting object. This object came, and like a lot of UFOs do, it stopped and hovered for a little bit. Signature thing they seem to do with me. And they change direction and they move away. This one is an interesting object. We're going to get to that next time on 4K Skywatching with Tom King. Thanks for watching.